Hey, welcome to the Bougie Banner post-game show. We're live here at Let It Fly, where a very large and enthusiastic crowd of Creighton Blue Jay fans watched an unbelievable finish, a game. I'm going to start it out because I'll say this 14 times before we're done. We had no business winning. Jays win 62-60, get that huge road win against Villanova, hang in the fight for the conference crown. Everything's setting up nicely now. My partner, Austin Chapman, is joining me.
Oh, yep. I like that.
Inside joke here. Hey, thanks for watching on YouTube. Two things. Hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Number two, we love it when you viewers chat with us. Just throw out questions, comments, whatever. You have to have a bunch on a game like today. Throw them out there. We'd love to answer them and discuss them with you as well. I want to thank our sponsors, Care Miners Home Health Care and Discount Window and Door of Omaha. Also, we'll have Unsung Hero Worst Call of the Night. And, boy, you got to...
a lot of up and down, huh?
You're gonna.
This is a fun one.
You like to poke back at me, so, which
No,
I love.
This is a fun one, though.
Which I love.
This is a fun one.
I act like I don't love it, but really I love it.
This is a fun one to be opinionated on.
Here's the deal. And well, let me hold on. Let me pull up the box score a second. I want to get the exact numbers here. I don't want to be shooting from the hip. All right.
17 turnovers. We can start there.
17 turnovers.
We can start there. 17 to 5.
17 turnovers. We shot 6 of 26 from 3.
23%.
And we were 8 of 14 from the free throw line. And we 7%. Still won on the road.
Absolutely. Sometimes better to be lucky than good.
Yep.
Right? That last
good
shot
things
proved it.
happen to good people.
Yep.
Ash is as good as they come. All right. But damn it, you got to start taking care of the ball.
Got to take care of the ball.
And we can't use the excuse he was out there for 40 minutes because he wasn't tonight.
He wasn't.
And yes, they were pressuring us, but a lot of those turnovers were just sloppy. Jason Green had a ton today. How many did he have? He
had 4. Jemiah had 5.
Yeah. Here's the deal with Jemiah though. Jemiah's going hard to the hole every time he's got the ball. You know what I mean?
He is. Calk had 4.
He's forcing action.
He is. I was doing the exact same thing and had one of the highest turnover.
What did Ashworth have?
Turnover. He had 4.
See, now, here's the way, and I've discussed it with Rob Anderson, our SID, and he's just like, well, technically, there's a way you're supposed to judge the turnovers. Like if a guy gets his hand on it, like Kalkbrenner with 4 turnovers. If a guy gets his hand on it, it's a turnover.
Kalk had 0.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said he had 4.
Kalk had 0.
Oh.
Ash had 4.
Yeah.
Jemiah had 5, and Green had 4.
4. Okay. But I mean, but
then it was just kind of one.
You know this as a point guard. I'm sure you've looked at stats. Go what? I mean, because technically, like if a guy touches the ball, then they give it to the guy who touched the ball,
right?
Or and that could be on you. Somebody else could have slapped the ball at you, then you touched it, then it goes out of bounds, and they give the turnover to you, and you're like, what the hell?
But
I was just trying to
that as a player, though, generally. That's when you see this or you see the extra rebound, that the ball's going out of bounds, all that.
No, I know, but you know.
I know.
The stats aren't perfect.
Like, generally, if a ball hits Kalk or somebody in the hands, it's not like it's like one of those.
I wish it was more like baseball. Now, baseball has a ton of time to discuss this. I get that.
Yeah.
But, they'll rule it an error, then they'll go, then they'll have a discussion, the next inning and go, oh, they've changed it to a hit. I wish basketball would do a little more of that at the end of the game.
That's
going,
fair.
Wait a minute, I see you've got Chapman for 3 turnovers. I only remember 1, and then discuss it, and they go, okay, we're giving him 2 or whatever. Anyway, I digress. We got to take care of the basketball, though.
Yeah, it's that simple.
We can't keep playing with fire here.
It's that simple. It was just a little more physical than norm, I guess you could say. It was a natural Big East game, though, today.
Yeah.
In the Wells Fargo Arena, NBA Arena. Kind of had just a different feel. Was allowing those guys to just play through some physicality, which if we're getting pressured and kind of getting handsy on the opposite side, then we just got to do the exact, and it took us a little while to adjust to that, I think.
I think so.
But we found a way to get it done, and that's all that matters, really, at the end of the day. You were on the road. Of course, it's going to be a tough game. 12 o'clock game, So you're an hour earlier. You're in a different time zone. Body's not moving maybe the way it might possibly should. Got off to a little slower start. So
We actually got off to a nice.
I'm just as a whole.
We led
as a
the
whole.
Oh,
and it was just kind of
a rock
slow.
fight. It was a
and
rock fight
yeah.
for a long stretch.
And it was like
pretty much the whole game.
We couldn't find
Nobody really
anything from
stretched it
deep.
out.
Right. Couldn't find anything from deep. Of course, we got caught going. That 2-man is just one of the best in the country, right? And that's just a huge predicate to what Mac's offense is 2-man. Everything runs through a good 2-man game. So they're just on a good chemistry right now, and it's like you got to stop those two guys, otherwise you're gonna lose the game.
I mentioned to you, and I want you to repeat what you told me. We did a great job on Dixon today. Now, he was a little bit off his game, but not really.
Yep.
He really didn't shoot many threes, but he was a little bit. But we did a great job on him. But you had a great comment.
Absolutely.
On that.
Still 17 points, 5 rebounds. But he was guarding Cog, right?
Yeah.
So expending a lot of energy on the defensive end. It's hard for you going to be that offensive player, really, and being that high caliber player that he's been all year. When, of course, we did a good job of sending different guys at him. Of course, Green being what he is defensively, but then being able to kind of mix a few different individuals at him, too, and keep fresh legs on him.
Jemiah was on him
it's huge.
A couple times.
Right. And so it was just a matter of two of Max just, his chess moves, right, and just making sure that guys don't get tired, too. And I honestly think, game plan, they stuck to it, right? We generally do. And today, it proved valuable for us.
I thought today, too, though, they were pushing us out. We were starting our offense almost at center court many times. They kept pushing us out. That's where I'd like us to see just turn the ball over to Jemiah and let him go.
But then it's the physicality aspect, right? So with that, some turnovers are going to happen. And if you do just give Jemiah the ball, right, he had 5 of them. So it was like he still is creating, but when you have somewhat of that pressure, too, and then you have these extra hands adding that 3rd, 4th, 5th effort, that's just what's going to come with the game, And I think, there's a lot of places that we can clean up to definitely look like an NCAA championship team. But, right now, at the beginning of February, I would take this over, just about anything,
Somebody said to me last week, they go, there's something about this team. And they go, I can't put my finger on it, but they go, I'm gonna just say grit, okay? And again today, we were not in command, but we had a lead, and we were rolling along, and then all of a sudden we got hit with like a 7-0 run, and we were down 5, and it looked like we couldn't throw it in the ocean. Ashworth hits a big 3, gets us a 2, and this team just guts it out somehow, some way.
It's defensively.
Yeah,
that's point blank period.
Jemiah with a nice defensive play on Dixon at the end of the game.
Absolutely. Can't win a game without defense, right? That's the old adage, championship. Defense wins championships.
Unless you just give it to Doug every time.
And we didn't. Did we win a championship?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No, we didn't. So we scored more.
You won championships in the Valley.
We scored more
in
than
the
most
Valley.
people.
You did.
That doesn't matter.
Valley doesn't count
that
now.
Doesn't matter.
It's just wiped from our
record. We
record.
might have the best team in history, and we lost in the 2nd round. So it doesn't really matter.
Second round of what?
To Baylor.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, none of that matters. We weren't able to play defense.
It was a horrible match.
No, let's not even say that. Because we just thought we could shoot threes, and we didn't play defense.
Oh, well, they
Simple.
threw that 1-3-1 against us. So
not even. It was a 2-3, though,
our point
for a while.
Point guard couldn't handle it.
The point guard did everything he could. There was other people that didn't show up.
Actually,
there was 2
Gibbs
people.
was out there. Gibbs was kind of out in that middle. No, but he was in the middle
area.
He was in the free throw line.
He was, but he more or less was, Jefferson closing down.
I hate to drive the bus off the road here, but were you guys ready for that 1-3-1? I mean,
we were beyond ready.
Okay.
We were beyond ready, but it just wasn't a matter of that's what we seen.
Well,
that's what I mean.
Here's the funny part.
Defense wins championship.
Here's a funny side story to that. So the night before the game, I'm in the team hotel, and we're talking with everybody. And D-Rock says, look, I want, Nebraska got kind of screwed on that. Baylor, Baylor could have been out. Nebraska had them down. Remember, and that's where Miles got technical, got thrown out of the game.
All right.
Well, you guys were in the locker room, but anyway.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, D-Rock said, he goes, I really wanted to play Nebraska because D-Rock was always the game planner for Nebraska. He always did a masterful job. He's like, we got these guys.
Yeah.
I know we can beat these guys. I got this down. And he goes, I was talking to Coach Altman, and Coach Altman goes, D-Rock, you don't want that, man. You lose to those guys in the NCAA tournament, you're never going to hear the end of it in Omaha.
Of course not.
But it's funny, the way it turned out, D-Rock was like, Yeah, I told you, man.
Yeah. I think we all are a little scarred from that.
Anyway, okay, enough about Baylor and
But
Creighton and Nebraska
just
talk.
defense and championships,
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So it's like they've
I've
been
heard
able
that-
to
I've heard that
figure it
term
out
before.
on the defensive end, kind of what Jemiah touched on last pod. That he had to really buckle down defensively to where he had freedom offensively, and now that's just coming in the fold where those guys feel comfortable.
Underlying thing probably wasn't noticed. We dominated the boards. One of the reasons we dominated the boards was they sent no one to the offensive glass.
Right.
They were back in half court, and that's why we couldn't get any transition going, and that's why our offense was starting out so deep because they were all locked in.
Absolutely.
Right?
They had us playing their game.
They did kind of what we did the last game against Xavier. Got back, put up the wall. So that's kind of an underlying thing. That's, again, you're going to do that, great. We're going to get all the rebounds, and we're going to be able to hold you down scoring. And you've just got to hope we go 6 for 26.
That's the hope. So honestly, much credit to Villanova. I think they executed their game plan to the T just about. We kind of just came away with a lucky one there. Corner three that banks off the corner of the glass is percentages there.
Bank was open, baby.
The percentages there are far and few between. So luckily it was a noon game. Bank was still open. And we were able to figure it out.
It's so hard on TV because sometimes you see shots from that deep corner like that, and it looks like it hits the board. And then when you see the replay, it's like, oh, it didn't hit the ground. But
no, that was apparent
that
there.
hit the board, didn't it?
Yeah, no, that's just
the other thing we were discussing, too,
great luck.
right after that shot during the timeout with 3 seconds left was Ash dropped back for 3, which is, analytically what you should do. But it was a 1-point game. He could have shot that 15-footer.
He could have shot that 15. We could have got in the caulk, but, I mean.
He didn't have to jump back and shoot
I think there's a lot of confidence in his three-point shot.
I think we would have been talking about that had he missed it.
There's just a lot of confidence in his three-point shot, too, and he felt he had a good look. And
confidence he's going to bank it off the board?
It worked.
Because that's a little bit of a miss.
That's just luck. That's luck. That's luck. I just don't think he thought he was going to be that open, really.
I think so,
they
too.
both went with caulk, and then he realized the three-point shooters pop into the corner.
And I think he shot it a little higher than he normally did, too.
I think he rushed it more than anything because he had too much time.
He thought the guy
had way too much time, and I think he just ended up rushing it. Great shooter, and it still was online.
Yeah. But to me, we were talking about it with .6 left. I go, okay, remember the Marquette game a few years ago when we tried to throw it deep to Crample and he didn't touch it, and then they got the ball and Hauser hit the 3, even though it was a late 3. The replay showed, but they didn't have a replay at that time. So I was just like, stand out, put caulk on at center court, and just throw it to them. And just if they pick it off, they're not going to have enough time to shoot. But anyway, then that was over with, and I took about 10 seconds, and I thought, that was lucky, but that kind of made up for maybe that game where we were unlucky. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that evens out.
Yeah, the guys come down to and just they even the playing field. It's just like you think you go in and think you're going to beat the house. Generally, the house always comes back and makes a level ground. So that's kind of what tonight was. I think this afternoon, or just more or less, we've had some unlucky days. Definitely as Blue
My
Jays.
wife's out of town for a week, so I might be venturing into those sorts of places. So what are you saying? Once I'm ahead, I should quit?
I'm just saying we might have had something lucky going today.
I did yesterday.
We had something lucky going today. Yeah.
Although I've got a wallet full of basketball games right here.
Yeah, we had something lucky going.
And we're doing well. Tennessee blew them out.
Disclosure. I'm not advising it.
Took the under in the St. John's game, and I'm like, oh my God, this game's going incredibly under. The next thing I turned around to look, Providence goes on a 10-0 run, and it's a tie game, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This better not go to overtime, but it did not. Although we would have helped us to have St. John's lose that game.
Yep.
All right. I asked you to give us chats. You are flooding us, so I'm not going to ignore them. Before we do, though, I want to talk about one of our sponsors, CareMinders Home Health Care, CareMinders Nebraska. Go to CareMindersNebraska.com. Check out all they have to offer, because many of you out there are hearing about this and going, yeah, I don't need their services right now. However, maybe in 10 years, my mother, my grandmother is going to need some help, and I need to know what they offer. Go to CareMindersNebraska.com right now. Check them out. And then when you're in need of care for your injured, ill, or senior loved one, you will know everything that they can offer, and then you can turn around and give them a call at 402-532-1383. That's 402-532-1383. That's CareMindersNebraska.com. All right, to the chats. Paul says, why can't we stop beating ourselves with turnovers? Do we want to go into
That's
that
inevitable. It's just inevitable. You know, like when you're trying to force a little bit more than what we maybe should have to, not having our natural playmakers out there. Coming into the season, I think we thought Pop was going to be there, making a lot of plays, and now putting the ball in some other individuals' hands, maybe being a little more loose than what we should. You know, some of that risk has to kind of be there, and hopefully, we're able to go get the stops on the opposite end. So I think that's why defense is so highly predicated for Mac. Allowing his guys to play so freely on the offensive end that if you play that freely, it's to be assumed that you will have at some point some high turnovers. So just kind of the tricks of the trade, but we do need to clean it up a little bit.
Clean up the ones like, and I was picking on Jason Green today because I love Jay, but man, when you're throwing a bounce pass and you go like this, you can't do that in Division I basketball.
That has nothing to do.
You gotta have some
that has
zip
nothing
on
to do with like his game of the sport, right? Like I think when he had that shot clock violation, a lot of that is because his confidence isn't at a place to where he's even looking at the basket.
Yeah, but
a lot of times when he catches the ball,
but we just had a timeout. I'll guarantee you at
I know,
least twice in that
but that has nothing to do with that.
We got 8 seconds on the shot clock. He's got to know. He's got to know.
He wasn't even looking at the basket.
Well, I understand that. That was Mac's point. You got to shoot that.
I'm just saying, over
was
time,
somewhat open.
This entire season, even last season, he was never really catching the ball on the wing. His first option was a pump fake. Never. It's always pass fake or actual pass. So like then you have to go here.
To be aware.
So he shouldn't have been in the game then. We'll say that.
Exactly.
We'll just say that.
Exactly. I'm 100% on that one. 100% on that one.
Yeah.
But regardless of that,
I guarantee Mason
got the ball in the wing, and he was going to make a pass to Kalk, and he just went.
That's awareness. That's definitely awareness. It's IQ, but he also made a heady play where he was trying to call a timeout in the middle of the air, right? So then
it's game, right?
It's
When did they change that rule? Because there was 1 year, about 2 years
There's
ago,
a rule
where they stopped. Where they said you couldn't do that anymore.
But you have to have full possession of ball.
Yeah,
because there was a lot of times where you still got the ball bobbling and you're calling time and you're yelling it audibly.
Yeah, I'll give him total credit. Heads up.
Heady play, but didn't have full possession.
And not just him. Fedor had a weak pass into Kalk. You got to at some point know that your team has already had a ton of turnovers, okay, and possessions in a 60-point game are pretty at a premium.
They're important.
So maybe we don't have to, with 20 seconds on the shot clock, trying to get that ball in there.
You got to think though. What are they being told right now? Because when we weren't playing well, Kalk was just scoring under 5.6 points a game, right? Wasn't touching the ball a lot because we had too much going on outside. And now it's throw the ball in, throw the ball in, throw the ball in. So I think that's just kind of some of their first thought anyways, without even really recognizing the defense. So now Kalk's having 2 men, 3 men. He's being triple teamed at sometimes. But yes, to your point, we just need to secure the ball. It's gold. It's an asset.
Like I said, I'm okay with aggressive ones. But when a guy just falls down, come on, man, you can't have those. I'm sorry.
That happens though. That's part of it. But Tim, we walked away with a win today.
I don't see that happening to other teams we play. I don't see guys just falling down.
I hate to say it. Then we got to get a little tougher. Then if that's how you feel.
Oh, thank you very much. All right. Jonas says, so thrilled they persevered. Yeah, persevered is. To follow that up, BJ said, wow, this team has what the last 4 years teams didn't have, grit.
I'm going to go and I like that, but I'm going to say just chemistry, right? You see it every year. The teams that actually win the championship, they might not be the most talented. But at the end of the day, that entire unit from 1 to 15, 14, whatever that is a full cohesive unit. I just think this is one of Mac's most cohesive teams that he's had over his 15 years. And it's like really and his coaching is really being able to bleed through it. But he's able to kind of just make different matchups out there, too, that, they still find a way to work because those guys are as a unit. And they're on one string. And it's beautiful to see.
I'll say this. Maybe I don't like that saying this team has more grit than, say, last year's team.
Right. That's why I don't
know about that.
I don't think grit, because I played with Grant Gibbs, and it's he was the epitome of it, right? And it's
Doug.
Grant Gibbs.
No, but Doug had supreme confidence in every situation.
He did, Grit to me is not
I've told you the story how you said, "Hey, we ain't losing this game."
that,
I mean,
but that's confidence.
yeah.
Grit was more or less of like, I'm gonna take this ball from you. I know that ball's coming off on this angle. I'm gonna go get that rebound before you. And Grit Grant instilled a
Grant
lot
would
of that.
actually say that.
He would
to
say
a
that to
guy.
them. He would say it to whoever he needed to on our side as well, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a little bit different.
Yeah. So, but I will
think
say this,
chemistry, though.
because this team, after losing Pop especially, not as talented as last year's team.
Right.
This team does need that little something.
They
if
do.
You want to call it grit, whatever.
I'm calling it chemistry.
But here's the other thing too. You start winning. It's like in football. You know, I've had a team fortunate for the last 2 years. My NFL team has had a tremendous record in 3-point games. Okay, when you start winning these close games, when it's 52-50 in today's game,
Yep.
these guys go, "We've been there.
Yep.
We get this
That's
done."
confidence then at that level.
If you've lost 4 in a row close ones, you're thinking, all right, what's going to go wrong now?
That's why I'm saying that's chemistry,
Yeah.
because you've been through these battles
Right.
together. You know, as a unit, you've done this together. I wouldn't say that's so much grit. Grit to me is the valley days, and we're actually down here bruising and on the blue collared work.
Okay. BJ's also followed up with us. They make the timely shots in the plays.
Yeah.
I will 1,000% agree with that.
Yeah.
This team does. When just
Everybody knows their role. That's the thing.
It's the old Kevin O'Connell line. Say it a million times. You don't always have to have your best.
Yeah.
But you have to have your best when your best is required.
Right.
You know? And it might be Jason Green today. Today it was Mason Miller. Hadn't played all game long, and
1
somebody
minute.
brought that up.
All game long, they made the biggest play of the game.
BJ's again, he said also, Mason freaking Miller comes in and makes a play. Hadn't made a play, hadn't sat on the bench the whole game. Comes in, tips that ball away from the guy who had the rebound.
Made an extra effort.
And Jemiah was able to grab it and lay it in.
And that won't show up in the stat sheet.
No.
Granted, it shows his 1 minute played, but like he might have had the biggest play of the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to me, it was the biggest play
I
of
thought
the
what was
game.
going to happen at the end. He was going to be open. He was going to knock down a three.
Well, I thought, something gave me that too. You know,
Yeah.
with the whole turnover with the
Yep.
shot clock situation. Yeah. It just kind of worked in the favor. Guys are just doing things the right way, though, right?
Here's one from Drew. Creighton will enter Wednesday's game on a month-long winning streak.
That's unheard of.
So when we lost to Marquette, right? That was our last loss.
Yep.
That was like December.
That was December.
January. No, it was January 3rd, I think. So yeah, we'll play. I think we play February 4th.
All right. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Wow.
Yeah. No, that's unheard of. In
Usually
the
we
MAC era.
have the Februarys where we don't lose. This time we're having the Januarys.
Yep.
So that's awesome.
Yep.
It's just that this
Schedule
year I
has
think.
worked out great.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was the way the schedule flipped.
But I would say the totality, right? This is the first year that we've kind of set up this non-conference in the way that it was set up. Kind of have some individuals that wanted to play higher caliber guys, right? So they set up that pre-conference as some of the best they could. And then coming in, and I think guys just felt to that point confident that, hey, going into Big East play, so we can play these guys with our eyes closed now at this point. You know, and I think they just have that confidence too as a unit, to having some things happen internally that it's like they keep bonding closer and closer together as a unit that, you know, if Ty Davis was out there for 40 minutes, I'd feel confident right now.
Yeah.
I would, if he had to be, right?
Did he have a turnover? I think he had a turnover. He usually
I
has that one every game where you're like, oh, Ty.
Think so.
I don't think he had a turnover.
No. But,
Yeah.
you know, I just think they're just kind of, it's more or less, they're moving in the right direction. And we're getting closer and closer to March that, you know, I think this is a big piece for Mac, right? I think that's something that he's been trying to get to of, like, how do we figure out that January slump?
Yeah.
He's figured it out.
To your point, we did start the Big East season with our eyes closed. We got blown out by Georgetown.
That's because we looked past our opponent, right?
It looked like we were playing with our eyes closed.
We looked
that
past
night,
our
yeah.
opponent then.
Yeah.
Because we did. We just assumed we were better than them, and we came on their court and got waxed.
Sometimes you don't notice an hour after that game ends. You don't think about it. But a month later, you go, man, that was probably the best thing that could have happened to us. You know? Oh, yeah. We got tons more comments here. Max, our intern, Max.
Nice to see you. Where you been, Max?
Max said, how does Coach Mack keep Creighton focused after winning 7 Big East games in a row? It's tough. It's tough to keep winning. But if you looked at that schedule after, we had to go on the road at Marquette, okay? Well, when we got that one, now we're like, okay. Now things flip around. We got Providence, and we have to go on the road for 2 more. Then we had this home stretch. On there, you kind of circled Xavier as that game, right, because they were kind of coming on. Then you go on the road for 2. You kind of circled Villanova.
Right.
It's always a tough one.
Yep.
I think
I'm going to say, to your point, that Georgetown loss is how he's been able to probably keep them as engaged because that was one that we gave up, right, in a way. And I believe that's something that's probably in the back of their mind, understanding had they won that game where they'd be sitting in the league.
I think
which to your point, but it's also the best thing is so there's a silver lining there.
Yeah.
But it's also of like knowing the end goal and what we have kind of done at the beginning of conference to also put it in perspective of taking one day at a time, not losing sight of the end goal and being able to go at this next game, whether it's DePaul, Seton Hall, Nova, St. John's, that you still have to attack it with that same energy.
Right.
And I think that's kind of how he's getting these guys going. And to that, I just think they're just great group of guys, man, that love to play basketball.
To Max's point, now generally you would think, okay, you're going to a Providence team that's hadn't had a very good year, okay? And then what's ahead? Marquette, UConn, St. John's. How does he keep focused? 2 things. 1, the Georgetown game, like you said. 2, Providence probably should have beaten St. John's today. Yep. So Mac can go, look. They went into St. John's, and they're not quitting.
They're a different place.
They're not quitting. So we got to go into Providence, and so, yeah. And the other thing he can say is, look,
stand up.
It doesn't really matter if we beat Marquette Saturday if we lose this game.
Yep.
So
and we're right there, right? I think that win kind of puts us right there up there at the top, and not nowhere near the bubble as well. And that's something too. If we want to be that for sure shoe in, that it's not making sure. We're kind of playing that line and kind of getting a better bid, at the end of the day. So the guys are always playing for that end goal, and I just think we got a cohesive unit of guys that understand that, right? We got some experienced individuals that have kind of been at this for a little while that they know what's at stake each game, right? And I think our coaching staff does a great job of that.
I haven't asked you this, but so what do you see in Ty Davis?
Ty Davis, as DK kind of touched on, can be a great Creighton player over time. It's going to take a little bit getting used to the speed of play, right? You could still tell that he's just playing at one pace, moving a little too fast. Once he's able to kind of transition and start to use his gears, I think that's when you're really going to see him, make a explosion in his growth. But as far as I think he's got to get a little bit better offensively. As far as whether that's a mid-range game, whether that's finding a in-between floater, getting to the rim, or finding a deep-range game, just being able to kind of provide more or less that added effort that's going to be needed once we miss Ashworth. Understanding that your ball handler also is a threat is huge, especially in Max offense, as I touched on. The 2-man game just being a huge part of what this let it fly mantra is. That he's going to have to come off and be more of that threat coming off these ball screens, whether that's, like I said, a mid-range, a floater,
he had that 3.
or a 3.
He had knocked down a 3, and today that one went in and out. I thought, because he was really playing well, and you could see the confidence growing in him. Yeah, if he'd have knocked that 3, that would have been awesome. All right, we're going to get – thanks for the chats. Keep them coming. We got a couple more to get to here. But before we do, we want to talk about our other sponsor, Discount Window and Door of Omaha. Fantastic sponsor here. Check them out. They have such a great lineup of windows for you to choose from. They will take you through the whole process. A guy will come to your house. You'll sit down, look at all the different styles that they have and what windows fit your needs and so forth. Then they'll measure everything to make sure they know what you need. They'll bring another crew out. The installer crew will come out and measure again to make sure everything's nice. And then the installation will happen, and the installers will come out, and they just do a fabulous job. I thought it was going to take them forever. They were in and out of my house in no time. You can see the difference in the windows there. The white trimmed windows look fabulous on my house. So, and then afterwards, they'll follow up with you. In my case, because we had a relationship, John came out and, did a little touch-up on my window frames in my house and God, it just looks fantastic. My energy costs have gone down. I can't say enough about them. So check them out. Go online, check them out. That's Discount Window and Door of Omaha. All right, back to the chats. Rob says, turnovers almost cost us. Their big guards' physicality really made it difficult to run any sort of offense. Tough getting it inside the caulk. We need to keep evolving our offense against physical teams.
I wouldn't say we need to keep evolving it. We just need to protect the ball. You know, that's what we've faced all year. It's been known that we're the softer, quote-unquote, softer team, right? So to, like, kind of what you stated earlier of us getting our offense pushed out to half court, that's something that teams know. If you don't allow them to play on the three-point line, one, those entries aren't going to be as easy, right, to caulk, which we still made quite a few of them, right?
Yeah. We had that lob. We actually missed that lob play about 3 or 4 times during the game.
Right,
it was there.
Right, and the ones that happened ended up being beyond late at the opposite side.
Caulk
He's throwing a late one.
Great.
And Caulk just making great plays, you know, which with King, some of that's not just going to be – it's not going to be there, right? So it's just some of that and cleaning up, getting our offense started a little lower, you know, down on the three-point line rather than at the quarter line or at, you know, half court, which is ultimately going to help our offense. But the turnovers, you know, that's just when we're playing this free and we don't have that designated ball handler all the time, you know.
To your point, I don't think their guards are. I don't think they're big guards. I mean, they had
they're just
one
decent
their
size.
Point guards is small,
right?
smaller,
And they're decent size, and it's just kind of what we're used to seeing. But
Yeah.
it was just one of those generic Big East games where those guys were putting hands on us and being physical, and they wanted to see how we responded. And you know, it took us a little while to finally get a little physical back, and you know, it boded well for us. But yeah, that's a dicey line. But you could also say there's a lot of other things, you know, where we lost the game. We didn't shoot it well. We shot it terribly from the free throw line.
Turnovers.
Right.
Turnovers and free throw shooting. And, you know, shooting from three, that's going to happen once in a while. We're going to have clunkers. But, hey.
The free throws
if you have to bank one to get – they say, how did you shoot 6 from 26? Well, we banked one off the side of the backboard to get there.
Yep.
Otherwise, it would have been 5 of 26.
Right.
Hey, by the way, so we're already into February, so we're looking ahead to the seedings and bracketology and so forth. So that was a Q1 win right there. Boom, there's 60th in the Nets. That's a Q1 win. We now have 4 Q1 wins. We're 4-4, 5-2, so we have 9 in the top 2 quadrants. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. For example, Auburn running away with things has 13. So we're really not that far away as far as high-quality wins. And, man, our predictive metrics are getting better and better and better and better every day.
As they should.
We're into the low 30s now, where at one point we were in the 40s and 50s. So that's helping us out as well. So you're going to see, I think, our net's going to keep creeping up when those numbers go up. And you just got to keep winning now. We got to kind of outbeat and have a better record and start stacking some wins. I know we've already stacked a bunch, but to get by that clump that's in the 6 through 9 range, you know, and we can force our way ahead of that, and then we can shoot our eye by getting big wins against, say, Marquette, UConn, or St. John's, getting those big wins, and that'll boost you up to where you can get a protected seed. So
that or just, you know, getting higher up and trying to win the conference.
Oh, that's
to that point, because
we are right there.
St. John's has Marquette, UConn, and then Villanova, and then us.
I was telling somebody
they got a hell of a 4-game stretch.
Marquette starts it today.
Right.
They have UConn, St. John's, Creighton, 3 in a row.
Right.
So
you can say that for 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
And then, so it's like we control our own destiny at the end of the day, really.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Granted, they're going to do what they're going to do, but
if UConn knocks off Marquette tonight, then we're right there.
You know. So I honestly think this honestly should be some of the most proud the Creighton fans and alums have been being in the Big East.
We have
exciting.
not had a chance to win the regular season.
It's a little different.
One that 1 year, the COVID year, but I mean, other than that, we haven't won a regular season Big East title.
We were right there on the edge, but
that would have been I think that was the year we were going to win the.
We were right there on the edge there. Our first year when we came over.
Oh yeah,
we were right there on the edge.
We were kind of favored in that game against Providence too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Let's get to some box scores here. All right. For Creighton, Caulk 22 points. Just his scoring's picked up now over the last 2-3
Well,
games.
that's what I think they said since we've gone on this streak. He's been 20 and plus. 20 plus and 10.
9 of 11 tonight. Didn't have the blocks today like he normally does. but he had 8 rebounds.
He did because they had some athletic guards, though.
And Villanova was very adept at driving to the hole and then this move.
Not even
with
that.
the arm
but
stretch.
It's just as athletic as they are, they're able to, adjust on that second contact. But they see that a lot, probably, in general, of what they're working with. But, I think it was the first game that we actively saw guys play after play not afraid to get downhill and actually attack him and see if they could put him in foul position.
Ashworth,
he does a great job, man.
After a slow start, 13 points, 3 of 7 from 3, 1 of 1 off the backboard. Jemiah Neal, 13 points. Jemiah had an all-around great game. 9 rebounds. Had some crucial rebounds. Obviously, that putback, but he had a couple other ones where
some big
crucial
ones.
rebounds.
Had some big ones.
Tremendous game by him. He was a little off today from 3, only 1 of 7, and he had some looks. We only 3 points off the bench, Ty Davis. But again, the greatest. This is the greatest Trillion score. If you all follow, who's the guy? Who am I thinking of? The Trillion dude. I know him. I can't remember his name. Played at Ohio State under Thad Matta. He wrote the book. You wrote the book. He was a bench warmer, and he wrote the book about the Trillion. You haven't heard of the Trillion? Somebody will put it in chat. Why am I blanking on his name? I can see his face. Had a great time with him out in Maui. He and I talked probably 3 times a day out in Maui. He's awesome. He's an awesome dude. Anyway, what the Trillion is if you play as a bench warmer his whole career. So he wrote this book about it. You get 1 minute, like if you look at the box score, usually the minutes were at the beginning. So you would have one.
I got exactly what you're saying.
1 and then everything else is 0.
Right.
Well, Mason hit that today. Never has there been a more impactful Trillion guy.
No.
Than that
that
today.
was my unsung hero. To be
honest.
by
slam dunk.
Just because I wish they could have heard
the epitome of an unsung hero.
I just wish they could have heard your auditory before that, right? Like, why? And then all of a sudden it's a tap, and then it was like, that's why.
Oh, why did he come into the game?
Yep.
No. I liked it. I liked the move. I was like, wow, Mason has been in all day. Just hit.
Yeah.
I hadn't really noticed it.
Because he hadn't played all game.
And he came in, and I'm like, okay, I kind of like this.
Right.
Max looking for a little something here, maybe offensive rebound, maybe.
And I think that honestly, that's probably where Mac is more or less scratching himself after this one. The only way he got away with one, but Mason should have had a few more minutes there. Maybe the game wouldn't have looked the way it did, right? But we walked away with one, and I think we're pretty happy about that. But great Trillion, beyond great Trillion. Unsung hero by far, without that tap back and that extra effort that he made.
Mark is his first name. It's almost coming to me. Mark is his first name. What the hell's, I can't think of his name. He was actually, when I went to the NCAA mock selection committee in 2015, he and Stuart Mandel were our committee chairs.
I gotcha.
And then that's when I first met him. I said, really? You're our committee chair? He goes, yeah, I know. I got nothing. He's a great guy. Very funny. But anyway, just couldn't have been a bigger play. Unsung hero, worst call. There was one, I'm going to get nitpicky here. It was so physical. And then they gave Dixon a foul on. If you're going to call that one, there was 40 other ones you could have called. Got him to the line for 2. He's kind of like Shaq. I think he gets some calls like I'm not doubting that Jackson bumped him when he flew out of bounds. Okay? And that was in the second half. But are you going to sit here and tell me Jackson McAndrew is going to bump into Eric Dixon and Eric Dixon's going to go flying?
Maybe if he's been guarding Calk all game. He's got no leverage. His leverage is gone.
The opposite generally will occur.
He's been guarding
Jackson
Calk
will
all
hit
game.
him, and Jackson will go flying.
No, but that's what I mean. His energy was expended. So he'd been guarding Calk all game. Maybe he had no leverage anymore. He was feeling a little light on his feet. I'm just making a play for the Oscar. That's all I'm saying.
Say this right here. Let's just hope Villanova.
I hear you.
Let's just hope Villanova's in the opposite side of the bracket in the Big East
of
tournament,
anybody.
so we don't have to see that guy anymore.
That's what you'd like to see, but something tells me that's who we're going to see.
Yeah, I know. Well, not for a 1 seed. We should. We end up being the 1 seed. We're going to play So let's just say Seton Hall's 11, DePaul 10, Butler 9. So you would play Butler or Providence, probably.
I'd take Butler over Providence for sure.
Play Butler.
Yeah, I'd rather.
Yeah, we can
These are
kind of
hypotheticals,
have our way inside against Butler.
Yeah. I think
Because that dude, that freshman that we recruited heavily,
he's
Oswin,
talented.
he's talented, man.
And I think too, as it progresses, he just keeps getting better and better. But
now they don't have pieces
have
around him,
right?
You know.
No, not at all. But if you can kind of X out, our X factor
that
here,
dude,
then
I don't want to see that dude. I'd rather play Butler.
Yeah,
rather play Butler.
I'd rather.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm forgetting about Georgetown. Yeah, they're probably in that mix.
Well.
Although, hey,
I'm just waiting to see.
They've got a very good big man too.
I'm just waiting to see how the second one is. I'm waiting to see how the second game is. I think we just came in that game a little lax.
Not Screen.
I just think we really came in that game a little lax. To that point, right? We had a crazy preseason.
There was 50 people in the stands.
Not even that. It was the preseason we had, knowing what preseason rank in Georgetown was. Cooley and Max relationship. I'm sure the scout was amazing. The guys just went in real lax. You're in D.C. You're doing all these other things. You're seeing all these other, events and stuff that they should probably went into the game just a little more lax than they should. So,
all right. We first off, right here, Let It Fly. We're at Let It Fly Sports Bar. There's the Let It Fly beer. Make sure you have one when you come in. Brought to you by our friends at Infusion Brewing Company. We're planning to have a show on Monday for Blue Jay Banner, a regular Monday Blue Jay Banner show. I hope we can work out the production issues, but hopefully we will. So be looking for that. If we do, and if we don't do it, either way, Wednesday night. It could be late night with Tim and Austin. Game starts at 7:30. Road game at Providence. Come on down here. Watch it with me and Rod in our upper tier perch that we always have up there, and you will be entertained. Will they not?
Yep.
They'll be entertained by me being negative the whole game, being entertained by Rod by saying, we're only down 7, nothing to worry about.
It's fine. So yeah, you got two different personalities. Come on to the Jewel Sweet Box. Come head out and see what's going on here and see how much money Tim's got riding.
So this one dude constantly jabs at me about the windows. The windows are holding up fine. Apparently you don't understand the concept of sponsorship. Okay, dude? They're a sponsor of our show, so I'm going to tell you all the great things about them. That's just part of any show. I don't know if you don't listen to radio or watch TV. That's what you do with a sponsorship, okay? Windows are doing great, as I said earlier. Thanks for asking, though. But anyway, game at 7:30, and we'll be here right after the game to break it all down for hopefully a win, and then we can get ready for 2 big home games, Marquette and UConn. All right, great win. Go enjoy it, celebrate. I know I will. I'm going to go watch some great hoops tonight. Duke, North Carolina, UConn, Marquette, and Arkansas, Kentucky. Keep going. Utah State, New Mexico, and St. Mary's Gonzaga. Don't get better than that.
I like
Huge
that.
rivalry.
Yeah, no,
we got games all the way to midnight tonight.
Keying into
it's
that
awesome. All right, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll see you on Monday.